Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how I edited the photo I recently uploaded called EDSA Boni. So as you can see here, I'm just like curating the photos that I took. What's interesting about this photo is that I did not shoot this with my actual camera. I took these photos with my Samsung Galaxy S10e. You know how Samsung has like a pro mode, so I tried using that at this time. And yeah, as you can see, they do have a raw option, so I was able to save like a raw file, and you could see how noisy their raw is, because it's not really that it's like a bad noise, it's more like it's trying to capture all of the details of the scene that it's trying to take. That's why it kind of looks awful. But once you sort of start changing the exposure, add a little bit of contrast to it, yeah, it's just basically gonna go away. So I've always wanted to take a photo of EDSA Boni, because every time I go there or I pass by there, this scene just sort of reminds me of a dystopian future, I suppose, because there's a lot of different colored lights, there's a lot of traffic. Yeah, especially if you can see that sort of blue line, that's from SM Mega Mall. I think it's a residence, I'm not sure, but fun fact, I don't know if it's fun, for me it's not, but this was the last time I actually saw that blue line thing from SM Mega Mall to light up. Like, it was the last time it lit up. Afterwards, I've never seen them light it up anymore, so that's kind of sad. My goal for this photo is to give that sort of, like I said a while ago, it reminds me of a dystopian future. So yeah, that's exactly what I was going for. I wanted to give it a cyberpunkish vibe, like the future isn't all that great in terms of society. Technology, sure, but anywho. As you can see here, I'm trying to change the color grading a little bit. I'm not really good at color grading yet, but since this is a very color specific output, I had to like do a lot of tweaking, because I didn't want it to look very saturated with like blues and purples, although I do want those colors. It's a little hard to manage when everything seems so blue and purple. So yeah, I had to shift gears at some point. So one thing I didn't like at this point was that there was a lot of purples and blues, and to alleviate that, I had to change a little bit of the yellow hues into a more orange one, so that I have a more consistent color palette, so that it doesn't have all the colors of the rainbow, per se. I think the favorite part that I did here was that when I changed the hue of the violet or the purple into blue, which sort of just softened the whole photo. What that did basically was, instead of having this like a blurred gradient between the blues and the purples, changing the purples to actual blue made it seem like the purples and the blues are separate. So that was a good choice. Now, one difficult part about this is that this was not a high quality photo in any sort of way. As you can see, the quality isn't that great. Also, I was editing this on Adobe Lightroom Mobile, so yeah, I was using my tablet, so the orientation is also weird. So I wanted to give it, of course, a vignette. So the subject, which is basically everything in the middle, would be more isolated. And I did this horizontal distortion a little bit, or I skewed it a little bit horizontally, because I took this photo a bit not in the right angle, obviously. So I had to do that, which made the orientation pretty much better for my eyes, at least. Of course, I'm gonna give that an S curve on the tone curve to give that typical look that I have on my photos, the grayish blacks and the blackest blacks. Cropping the image is always important because it actually tells so much about the photograph that you have when you crop your photos correctly. Square was not really the best choice because what I was going for this image is the feel of like the government's corrupt, and there's a lot of traffic, and like the future is bleak, sort of, and giving it a square crop doesn't really have that feeling. It feels more like you're looking outside of it. What I want is, like, when you look at this photo, you feel like, oh my gosh, I am in a dystopian future. And so having more of the sky would give you that feeling. And if I crop it squarely, it's just gonna remove a lot of the vertical space. Here, I am doing some masking using a brush over the two, what do you call those, like LED billboards. Those are probably one of the most interesting part of the photo, supposedly, but unfortunately, with the exposure that I did, I guess it was a little too bright. So here I'm trying to adjust it a little bit and give it some color because it's just purely white. And if you look at like the holographic billboards on futuristic cyberpunk movies, they typically have a very neon color, or at least have color in them in general. But here it's just like purely white and black because it was a little too bright. So yeah, I had to fine-tune the LED billboards a little bit. Most of the time when I take photos like these, I already kind of have something in mind when I see the scenario or like the place I'm in. It's like, wow, okay, I'm gonna take that photo and turn it into like a beautiful sort of photo, at least for me. But when I start editing, I don't usually have a very specific look in mind. Most of the time the photo takes me there instead of me taking the photo elsewhere. But in this case, it's kind of like a give and take with the photo, because there's a lot of constraints in terms of editing this, because again, I took this from a 2019 phone, so there was not a lot of space for me to adjust it a lot, because if I push it a little too hard, the photo could get damaged. So as you can see here, I'm trying to give it a purplish hue because on my color grading, I think I put purple as the highlights and blue as the shadows. Yeah, so quite honestly, I do not like that because it's pretty obvious that I just added that, and if you look at it, it almost looks like it's just the red overlay. As you can see here, it's more like the masking overlay, so it didn't seem natural. What I did here was I added what do you call this? I forgot what it's called, but I added like a gradient, a circular gradient in the middle to give that sort of bright spotlight more emphasis, and to give that dystopian feeling a little more dystopy. Wow, I actually like that. It's pretty cool. It's like, cars, please follow the rules or you will be shot with a laser or something. So yeah, so to give that dystopian feeling even more of a dystopian feeling, I had to really darken the photo and sort of emphasize more on what the spotlight is, spotlighting. So now here I decided to remove the purple hue on the two LED billboards because, yeah, like I said, it just looks like the masking overlay was turned on instead of it looking like a actual purple light, because the surrounding of the billboard doesn't actually glow purple, because if something is glowing purple, stuff around it would also turn purple a little bit. So I gave it a little bit of lens distortion to balance sort of the length of the road, to make it more to make everything look closer a little bit, but still give you that feeling that that part right there in the middle is still a bit far away. So yeah, so last settings, and I finally exported it. Yay. I don't know why, but I feel tired. I feel like I'm holding my breath while doing this this voiceover. Alright, so there we have it. The before and the after. Now, obviously the original photo was a little more yellow, and it was just like a scene you saw at night, walking past by EDSA Boni station, and it's raining a little bit. So here's the after. It's a lot more muted, it's a lot more contrasty, it's a lot darker, a little more dystopian, I hope. I didn't really expect this to be like a really great photo or anything. Like I said, I took this with my I shot this with my phone, so I wasn't really expecting a lot, but I just like it. Anyways, that's it, guys. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I'll be uploading more editing videos soon. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye. Okay, yeah,